Merry Christmas, my dearly beloved and departed. I'm trying my darndest to get in a super Christmassy mood this year. Stop eating the Christmas tree. Didn't you watch Christmas Vacation? That's why I thought I would set us up here for a little bit. Welcome to my November wrap up. This is where I go through the month of November and I just recap all of my work stuff, all the writing stuff, all the publishing stuff, things that I read that I really loved, and then just random life fun events. So quite honestly, November happened so quickly, and I think it was because I was doing so much. I was still on the back end of you know, my debut came out at the end of November, or at the end of October, so I was still doing some promotional stuff early November, and then I had a couple trips planned back to back, and then it was Thanksgiving, and so it was just like boom boom boom, and now here we are a week into Christmas, and I don't even know how we got here. It still feels like it should be 2008. I don't know. But let's go ahead and dive right in. So the first thing I'm going to talk about today is writing or work related stuff. And now that I have multiple projects going, I can't believe I get to say that. Now that I'm about to have multiple projects published, I'm gonna start breaking them down like project by project. So like we'll have a section for the Glass Witch, for my upcoming 2023 middle grade Tobe, and then for anything else that I'm working on. So we'll start with the Glass Witch because I don't have much to talk about with her. She is my middle grade spooky fantasy that came out at the end of October. You can totally order her now. Links are always down below. But I saw the Glass Witch in stores for the first time. And this was like completely unprompted. Like obviously at my launch party, like they ordered books, you know, a big amount of books from Scholastic because they knew I was having a launch there and people were going to show up. But this is the first time I just like walked in a bookstore and saw my books there. And it was magical. Also, it was at a Barnes & Noble. If you haven't been following the Barnes & Noble scandal that happened over the summer, Barnes & Noble just sent out emails to certain debuts and were like, hey, we're not going to be stocking your hardcover at all, sorry. And I was one of those that got an email from Barnes & Noble, and well, they emailed my publisher, and then my publisher emailed me. So I really thought it wasn't going to be in there at all, but it turns out that what that meant was they just weren't going to have it in all of their Barnes & Nobles. They used to like decide, okay, if this is going to be in one store, it's going to be in all stores. They don't do that anymore. They just let stores now choose if they're gonna have certain books in or not. So you may very well walk into a Barnes & Noble that doesn't have my book, and you might walk into one that does. But I walked into the store and I was with my dad, and he was like, well, you should just go up and ask. And I was like, well, I don't want to ask and see if they have my book, because then what if they don't? And then it's just like awkward and uncomfortable and like just kind of sad. So I was like, I'll just go back in the children's section, and I found it. I found 3 copies of my book. I was so excited, and I took them up to the front and I asked for the manager. I was like, hi, these are mine, can I sign them? And the manager is so amazing. He was just so excited. He's like, oh my gosh, I love local authors, we're gonna sell 1 million copies of your book, like let's go. So he ordered a bunch more copies. He got like little specialty stickers that say like signed local author, and he works with a lot of local book clubs, and so he was gonna like get my book in their little like children's book club. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. And yeah, Wiener, you're gonna get electrocuted. Like when I think about like my dream of being an author, it was always to go into Barnes & Noble and be able to buy my book, and I was able to do that. That was the bigger dream than being published. Is being published so that I could buy my book in a Barnes & Noble. And of course, you know, that dream kind of changed when I found out that the book might not be in Barnes & Noble, and so on and so forth. But it was really cool all in all being able to go in there and see it. If you're in the Ohio area and you're wondering where you can get a signed copy, they are at the Barnes & Noble in Westchester, Ohio. And you can always reach out to Joseph Beth Booksellers in Cincinnati. They also have some signed copies. And that's the only Glass Witch news I have. She's just out in the world doing her thing. Moving on to the Odd book. Lots happened with the Odd book. So for starters, I turned in my copy edits. Those are completely done. it was a lot of work. I not only had to do copy edits, but we kind of had to regress and do some more line edits because we found out we were having like, they only allowed so many pages to be bought to go inside of the book. And I was over by like 7 pages. So we had to cut like retroactively go back and like cut words. So it was just like a very big thing that I had to do in November, and I'm very happy to say that it is said and done, and Tobe is now like officially off to production. If you're wondering why I'm calling it Tobe, it's the Odd book. It's an abbreviation for that. It's another middle grade spooky fantasy that I have coming out probably around the September-October time next year. And I can't wait to share more information with you guys about that book, because not only is she finished, she has a title and she has sketches of her cover. I know kind of like where we're going with it, and it's beautiful. It's got the most fun, dynamic colors, and there's so much movement. It's very motion heavy, lots of movement, dynamic. It's just, it's perfect. And I didn't really have a super great name for the Odd book. I mean, I had some that I liked, but the team was kind of like about them, so I just like my editor ended up choosing a title, and I'm like totally fine with it. I'm so glad that it is titled now and I don't have to worry about that anymore. So yeah, it's nice. It's really close to the Odd book, so it's not even gonna be that big of a difference to like switch over to like officially start calling it by its name when that time comes. And now let's chat about Project Pyro, which is my current work in progress. It is my YA social horror slash thriller that I'm working on. I started the second draft of that, which was really exciting. I didn't think I would actually be able to do that this month, and I did. I had a lot of pre-writing work to do. I had to figure out my really complex timeline. My story itself is linear, but I have a bunch of excerpts in between the chapters that are all out of order, and they are all out of order in the future of when the main timeline's happening, if that makes sense. So it's kind of all over the place, and I really had to draw my own calendar and make a little map of the timeline so that I could get that perfect, because I didn't want my entire book to fall apart because I said something happened October 28th and not October 29th, you know? And this is the book that I've been doing the most research for as well. It's very research heavy because I'm dealing with a lot of really heavy topics. We have a lot of like ableism, the intersections of ableism with like race, class, and then like consent with bodies in a disability sphere, and like infantilization of disabled people and not feeling disabled enough, like what merits you to be disabled. There's a lot going on in this book and I'm really trying to sound smarter than I actually am. So there's been a lot of research, and not to mention there has been a lot of research on other disabilities that I'm putting in my book other than my own. It's been a lot, but I feel happy at the place where I am that I feel comfortable enough to dive into my second draft. So I was able to do that. I am right now on my first chapter now. I got my excerpt done, my first excerpt, and then like the book is starting with like a little podcast transcript, which I think is so cool. So I've got the podcast transcript done, and then we've moved on into the first chapter, and it's going well. It's going well. I'm really excited about this one because it's been so fun to break free of like cutesy, sweet, wholesome middle grade and just write some gritty, nasty characters. And then moving on into more just like random work stuff. My website is live. Hi, I finally have a website. It's very exciting. It's very, very cute. I like it very much. You can always check it out. It's always linked in my link tree. Anyways, that's where all my stuff is. If you want to like order the book or follow me on any other social media, it's all in the link tree. And the website's down there now. It's officially live, and I'm very happy with it. And then the last writing slash work related thing is that I went to Y'all Fest and I went on a writing retreat. I have an entire vlog on that. You can watch me work on writing stabby books while I'm chilling at a beach. So I will link that down below if you want to watch it. But Y'all Fest was amazing as well. I got to meet some incredible authors. I got to like schmooze at some parties, and yeah, just meet some incredible people, make some friends, eat some great food, and I had a great time. Now let's move into life stuff. This is where I just like chat about like random personal stuff. But I had 16 pain-free days in the month of November, which was incredible. That is so much higher than the 2 pain-free days that I had in October. Not surprising at all because October was filled with so many trips and then it was release month. So I was just like, I was really putting work in front of health, which I knew I was going to do that anyway. Like I made that decision just because it was like release month. But in November, I was really able to kind of like get into my normal routine of like taking care of what I eat and my sleep schedule and resting and things like that. So I'm back, I'm feeling better and I'm glad for those pain-free days. Oh my gosh. Because I was so busy with work and travel and everything I've kind of already talked about, nothing else in my life really was happening. Just some small things. I got back into playing The Sims. I go through stages or like cycles with The Sims where I get really, really obsessed with it for a while. Re-obsessed with The Sims, having a great time. I'm also playing Pyro on my Switch, which is incredible because that's the first video game that I ever played. I remember being like 6 and being obsessed with it. Incredible. And okay, you guys are gonna judge me for this, but I rediscovered my love of bluegrass music. I'm not gonna be embarrassed about it. This is who I am, okay? I am an Appalachian queen. But I love bluegrass. There is something about it that just like, it hits me in my soul the way that other genres of music don't. And I think it's because like it comes from like Celtic roots, and like also Celtic music kind of does that for me. So it's just like, a good fiddle and a good banjo, put in a harmonica and a soulful voice, and I'm there for it, okay? I've been obsessed with Chris Stapleton's old band, and specifically, I'll link a song below that I've just been playing on repeat. This is just who I am now. I'm in my Appalachian white trash girl era, which honestly, when did I get out of it? Let's be real. Okay, and then the last thing that we'll chat about is my reading, what I've read and really loved this month. So for starters, I finally finished the Warren the 13th series. These are such cute middle grades, you guys. They are done by an author-illustrator duo. Every single page has some kind of incredible artwork, and it's a 3-book series following the youngest bellhop and hotel owner in this creepy hotel's history. Warren is trying to uncover some mysteries, some riddles, some puzzles, some things that are happening inside the hotel, and while that's happening, 3 witches come to stay and start wreaking havoc. The rest of the series gets so fun. We travel to the woods. We travel, the last book turned into like a piratey adventure. There was even a section where Warren and the crew ends up shipwrecked. And they get captured by pirates, but all the pirates are like strangely all like elders and old. They take them back to their lair, and Warren finds out that they are actually landed on an island that is a retirement home for former pirates. I was like, this is the cutest thing ever, and this is so up my alley, 100%. No spoilers, but it really makes me excited to tell you guys more about Toad. Another book that I read and loved was The Marvelers by Danielle Clayton. This is like her answer to like the series that shall not be named. There are a bunch of different kids from different cultures all come to a school to learn their different cultural magics. And it was so whimsical and so fun. It was such a quick read for me too. And I haven't read anything set in a school setting that has been quite as whimsical as this since that other series. And then the last book that I loved this month was Just Like Home by Sarah Gailey. This is an adult literary horror that follows a girl who is returning home for the first time since being a child to take care of her dying mother in the house that her recently deceased serial killer father did all of his serial killing inside of. This is a very slow, moody, character-driven novel that you really just sink into, and you either have to really like this type of novel to get on board with it, or you really just have to be in the mood for that type of writing style. I think what I just loved about this was how complex the characters really were. There's so many intricacies and so many deep, toxic, twisted relationships where like you can equally love and hate someone at the same time in your family, and like the dad like was murdering people, but like the daughter was also like, you're my dad and I love you. So it's just, it's so Okay, let's see. I usually end these off by finding a very funny question and asking you guys to answer down in the comments. Oh, okay. Tell a story about a time an uncomfortable question was asked in front of family and your response to it. That's a fun way to end a video. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching and hanging out with me. I hope you had an amazing November. Let me know how it went for you down in the comments below. If you haven't already, you can totally order The Glass Witch, my middle grade spooky fantasy. That would be So cool of you. Don't forget to like this video if you like these types of wrap-up style content. It really is helpful letting me know. And subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!